Story time. This is chapter 2, Helpful Talks with Girls, copyright 1910 from the Christian Herald. Improved opportunities. Schools in the old days, growth of common schools, women's abilities, fields of efforts, and the professions. It would be interesting to relate in detail the changes that have been wrought in women's conditioning during a period within the memory of many still living. Our purpose, however, is not to give the history of women's advancement so much as to describe as best as we may the fields of opportunities which have been opened up largely through her own efforts. 100 years ago, even in the favored United States, not 50% of the women could read and write, and a larger percentage of her sisters in that older world from which our forefathers came were in a denser state of illiteracy. The public schools, to be found today in every inhabited part of our vast country, have been a thing of slow growth. The early teachers of the backwoods school and even the teachers of the city school, sustained by public funds, were invariably men. True, there were a few private schools managed by women, but they were regarded not so much as places for intellectual training as for the acquiring of superficial accomplishments. Growth of common schools. It was not until the states took charge of the education of their prospective citizens that the public school became an all-important factor in training the youth for the duties of citizenship. These public schools were not limited to the training of pupils of one sex. The world had come to realize, and particularly the American world, that the woman was quite as much a citizen as the man, and quite as important a factor in the nation's development and progress. It was natural that after this common school education began to spread among the girls of town and country, they should soon develop a capacity for teaching, and that in time they should come to supplant the old schoolmaster and to introduce newer and better methods for the training of the young. Women's ability. At first it was doubted whether women were capable of such work. It was argued by the old fogies and conservatives of the time that women lacked the force of character, the power of discipline, if not, indeed, the intellectual ability properly to train the young placed in their care. But in this, as every calling which she has assumed, women soon demonstrated her ability to do the work, and to do it better than it ever had been done before. Normal schools were established for the training of teachers, and it was at first supposed that they would be resorted to only by young men, but, to the surprise of objectors, even the earliest of these training schools for teachers had their full share of women, and in classes where the sexes were brought into direct contrast, if not into direct competition, it was found that, as a rule, the women students more than held their own with the men. There are today in the United States, remember this is 1910, it is estimated about 500,000 school teachers, and of these, more than 2/3 are women. Nor is their field limited to common school. We find them teachers in the training schools, professors in the academies, and filling positions of educational responsibility, which men of 2 generations ago imagined were beyond their capacity, as they surely were beyond their reach at the time. Other fields of effort. We have mentioned the entrance of women into educational work because there is perhaps no other field, certainly none so important, in which larger numbers of the sex are professionally employed. It would be a mistake, however, to suppose that a great advance which we have mentioned, other avenues equally promising, if not equally important, have been opened up for women. We find her managing the farm successfully. As a shop or storekeeper, she is taking high rank with the men of that class, and the wholesale merchant freely asserts that business women meet their obligations with more promptness than do men. In the trades, she is taking a high rank. Next to eating, people perhaps spend more upon their clothes than in supplying any other personal want. Not only are women now, as they have been in the best, the milliners and dressmakers, but they have also become the manufacturers of clothing for boys and men. the artistic taste and their love for the home beautiful and induce them to become decorators, and in all our large cities, women can be found occupying foremost positions in this department of labor.